matter. But hello everyone. One thing I like to say that I never claim I'm an expert in any matter. I'm only giving the viewpoint from a yogic principles and also from a my uh, belief, or you can call it my intake on any question that comes in a way, but from higher perspective, or from point of view of spirituality, point of view from as a spiritual person or the yogic person, how one can deal with the emotions and the many topics, many things of life. But only issue becomes if you're not open to listen and process the information, but if you already have a preconceived fixed idea of it, you will find reactive to anything that I have to say, or actually sometimes not even listening, because sometimes people can make up their own mind, may not even open for any discussion to listen to it. It's a different. But I remember last week Sangha, there was a question regarding a emotional situation, trauma. There was a question regarding trauma. And then I said something about broccoli. It's not, I'm saying that trauma is equal to you being traumatized eating a broccoli. But it was a simple trauma can be triggered by even a little vegetable that can haunt you rest of life. Trauma is not big or little. That was actually analogy. It was not about me comparing the just to the broccoli. It was the matter of a concept how and what trauma can be triggered, or what can create a trauma to your life. There's many elements in your life trauma can happen, but it's depending, are you living and identifying with that trauma and continue to live and identify with the trauma without accepting and letting it go and moving forward, or finding the way to accepting that trauma and forgiving yourself, or building a healthier and loving relationship to it to move forward. But majority time is we have the tendency in our life as the human nature, which is very common, to, if something can give you sense of attention or can bring a sense of identity, your mind will like to hold on to it, because that becomes if something stay a long period of the time, it just remain part of your life, it becomes part of your identity. It's very hard to let go of it. Sometimes trauma can also become a part of your identity, and you will always finding a many reasons to hold on to it and identify with it, because people become sometimes apathetic to you based because you are traumatized in your life, you have a loss of trauma, and sympathetic to you. Well, I can see myself we just got two dogs from Germany, from Italy, and if they misbehave sometime, I have a sympathy or empathy to those two dogs, because they were neglected at the age of 4 months, and they misbehave. I tell them because they're traumatized. Actually, that's not the way. I'm sympathizing and giving them continue to misbehave in such way because they're traumatized. And they can be kept in the same bubble to stay being traumatized the rest of their life, and they will grow up in that way, and they will be in that way. So last week's discussion, I got a question back saying I did not talk fully about it in a good depth regarding trauma. And I think I vaguely remember a little conversation. Does being a spiritual teacher or master of yoga and meditation puts me in a position or to be able to give guidance on emotional health? Yes, definitely gives me, because yoga and meditation is about your physical health and mental health. And if yoga and meditation does not understand your emotional health, you do not know anything about myself or yogic or meditation practices. Point one. And despite what I'm saying, I'm not claiming that I'm an expert on emotional health. I try my best to guide people. How can you find a upper hand and optimistic approach to your whirlpool of mind? How you can find a moment to escape, or maybe it may click to come out of the whirlpool of the mind of feeling sorry for yourself. Second, I'm not expert in trauma, but people who knows me, they knows how much things that one can deal with. Big subject and huge umbrella terms. This is you talking capitalist language now. If the trauma is subject to a capital investment, yes, it is a huge umbrella term. Trauma is trauma. It's not either big or little. I do not classify the big trauma or little trauma. I gave an example last time about the broccoli. Somebody can have a big trauma in their life, may not be affected that much, or somebody could be traumatized by little thing in their life. They can hold on to that trauma throughout their life. So somebody who had big issues in the life, or big traumas in the life, or a trauma of being a little incident in the life, being forced to do so, trauma is trauma. It's equal. There is no difference to it. There is no scalability to it. There is not oh, my trauma is bigger than yours. Trauma is affecting your mental state, how you reacting to those incidents. It is a not emotional, but is more mental structure, biochemical of your body. Yes, yoga and meditation do alter your biochemicals and of your brain, and it alters the way you can perceive those emotions. I'm pretty sure the people knows that much for physical aspect of it. Your trauma, it becomes a part of a memory which is stored in your physical body and in your nervous system. By practicing yoga and meditation, so uh, I can do explain lots of things, and you can do lots of things about it. And I heard that you say did not reflect any real knowledge of subject. Maybe I did not portray the trauma as a big monster. If I portray and sell the trauma as a big monster, and sell a therapy, it will reflect like I have a good depth of trauma knowledge, but forget about that. Broccoli analogy could have been taken as a minimizing it. Yes, I believe sometimes if your trauma, if you're holding on to the trauma and constantly identifying with it and looking for a reason and claiming it, and you using the trauma as a escapism, if you're using the trauma as a tool so you can justify your actions and reactions, yes, it is you need to find a way how you can drop that identity. The moment you start dropping the identity by accepting it or not buying into your self-pity. I'm not saying everybody does that. Remember, I'm making very clear, not everybody does that. You need to watch your own behavior, how you are relating to that matter. or you can become a victim or a constant prescription to a therapy to deal with the trauma to rest of your life. And then you become a therapist to deal other people's trauma. That is also a way to go for it. You have so much knowledge regarding how we hold stuff in our body. What could it be helpful to practice to unlock? And this makes me puzzled. And I've been questioned. I'm not gives me any right to talk about trauma. Now, in the same sentence, I have so much knowledge to talk about such matter, but this is a bit contradictory. And somebody sent an email. I got that after probably listening to the Sangha. So it's quite interesting topic, the how somebody can be traumatized by talk on a trauma. Somebody can be traumatized by listening to my talk on a trauma. That itself a big trauma. Basically, nobody likes to hear something that can scratch the surface of their facade. If somebody have a big ego, somebody have a decoration, and you go along, little scratch it, and they will feel the itch to something about it. I might have touched the, what do you call it, the sore spot that can make them feel very uncomfortable. I apologize for that, but I'm not really sorry. You are quick to offer some practical advice for thyroid question. Thyroid question is also subject to a trauma. Most of the traumas happen because you are never vocal about your situation. If somebody got a trauma into their life or have witnessed and experienced it, the only time it becomes part of your a subtle body relationship if you have not vocal it, if you have not talked about it, which is basically to do with thyroid gland, your throat chakra area. And that leads down to your metabolism and to your immunity and to your entire body, becomes a behavior pattern of you. I notice often when it is emotional health issue to me or to anyone, it feels like I minimize and not refer to other professionals in those fields. I don't believe anybody is such a professional in any field whatsoever. I only can talk about myself. So why would I recommend anyone to anyone? You need to find your own way. I'm not here as a prescribing people to be in system. I'm only talking from my point of view. And neither I take a responsibility. If anybody take my advice and start working on it, I am not responsible. You are doing it by your own will. So reason is emotional health is a subject of vulnerability, and it is subject of manipulation, especially when it becomes a interest of capital benefit. If your emotional health, you are emotionally vulnerable, and you think that somebody's capital interest will make your emotional health better, I always doubt it. But it's not my topic. So remember, I do not minimize. I only say not to identify your emotional problems, not to breed them, not to find a way to prolong them, not to find a way to hold on to them. Find a way to accept them. Find a way to respond to them, not react to them. If that called minimizing it, sure, I'm asking people to minimize either your emotional drama and saga that you feed to your own mind. You can change your emotions, remember. You cannot change how your emotions are, but you can change how you respond towards your emotions. Not if you constantly reacting to them, you are not going to grow. If you are identifying with emotions, you are not going to transform. So find a way how to respond to emotions, and your emotional health will improve. As long as you hold on to your emotional health in a way that keep making it part of your identity, and then say my emotional health is not improving, it is not going to improve because you finding a comfort in your unhealthy emotional health. So that was my little clarification from last week's trauma and emotional health. So emotional health or trauma, it can be little or big. It's not what may look little to you might be a big trauma for somebody else, might look big trauma to somebody else, or to you might be little for somebody else. So it is not a matter of trauma is trauma. There is no uh, percentage of the graph um, scalability to it, or you can't measure the trauma. But you only can find a way how not to react to it, how not to identify with it, how not to look as a reason for self-justifying your actions or reactions towards it, and constantly living with it and making sure it stays with you and never leaves you. So if you need your emotional health from any experts, please do find. I don't know anyone other than myself, so I can't really refer anyone to anyone. Maybe you can find a psychotherapist might be able to help, or they are in some Kundalini healers and Tantra healers. They really deal with emotional health problem and traumas. They claim they can cure the trauma. Or some other people. I don't know who can cure the trauma, but only person can cure the trauma is yourself when you are ready for it. When you're willing to let go the identity of trauma, you start the process that very moment. So please do find, if you needed emotional trauma health experts, go visit your GP, ask your GP, and that will be the best starting point. Your general practitioner and the medical health practitioner, they knows better. And similarly now some people are traumatized by the mask. Lots of people are living in a state of fear. Some people were traumatized last year in UK, especially in London, with toilet paper. They were fighting over it. There was none available left, and their people were really traumatized by it. And I do not really know why they're traumatized by toilet paper, because this is quite a serious problem, and so lots of people have to go see a therapist to recover from that trauma of not having a toilet paper in supermarkets. That was Oleg was traumatized once. He had to go see a therapist few times. Can you imagine if there's no toilet paper and society dependent on it? You will be stinking in the street. That is a big trauma for many people. Anyway, this is enough with trauma. I have a couple of other questions I like to talk about it. There is a question somebody asking that you answer all the questions that I am currently asking myself. I would like to become yoga teacher, but I will not feel credible if I do not master at least the asanas. Stephanie, nobody can ever master everything. Yoga is about mastering your life. When you become yoga teacher, some people only become yoga teacher because they want to teach and they are flexible, and they think by being flexible, getting a bit more knowledge, how to guide other people to stretch the body, they become a yoga teacher. Yeah, instructor, no problem, for sure. You can instruct other people how to do yoga with even little knowledge. But the important part, if you want to become either understanding a master of your own self, master of your own body, your own senses, and building a healthier relationship with yourself, I will highly recommend you teach or not teach, but you must start your journey. So once you go in a yoga program, I think they should not call it a teacher training program, they should call it a yoga life transforming program or foundation for life program. But yoga is, you can never become a teacher in yoga, remember that. The day you say that I'm a teacher of yoga, your journey stops. You always remain a student in yoga. I am still a student. People ask one time, do you teach yoga? I said no. They ask, do you practice yoga? I said again no. I say, I'm trying to live yoga, not practicing. Practicing is just, again, I'm practicing that time. My relationship is only during the practice. Or if yoga I'm teaching, I can never teach yoga because yoga is to be experienced individually by people. Everybody have the complete different physical capabilities, mental capabilities, emotional capabilities, and everybody is unique. That's what yoga is. Beauty about yoga. Yoga treats you as an individual and building your own relationship to yourself. That's when yoga comes into place. You're getting to know your own depth. You're getting to know your own feeling, how you are feeling is constant evolution of your mental and physical health, and constant transformation of your thinking. When your thinking becomes fixed and your evolution of your dimension of your thinking or your physical experience within the body becomes stopped, yoga is no longer working for you. It's constant broadening your horizon of your existence, making you your bioenergy or your mental state of living being broadened every time you practice. So it means you start living yoga, not practicing yoga or teaching yoga. See, there's different stages in your thinking of yoga. So, Stephanie, in my personal opinion, first of all, not to have any doubt. You are coming that I will not be able to master at least the asanas. Leave that job to a good, decent teacher. If you can master not the asanas, but the art of how to master the asanas, that's what you need to worry about. If you are only concerning about mastering the asanas, you are limited, in my opinion. I don't teach people to master the asanas. I teach people how to master the art to master the asana. So you understanding the prospect, you understanding the emotional and physical and mental relationship to the posture and the understanding how the yoga is working, how the asanas are working, how the breath process is working, how the anatomy plays the major role, how the sacred anatomy plays the major role, and other element of the body work with it. That what will make you help understand yourself, and then based on your own physical transformation, you will understand the asanas as per your growth, gradually, not in one day, gradually. I have had a people who come to the yoga practice, can't touch the toe, they only can reach to the knees. In a week progress, remember, yoga asanas require consistency, persistency, discipline of regular practice, and willing to accept your limitation. If you start thinking you want to be there but not willing to accept your physical limitation, you're likely to injure. So understanding your physical boundaries and try to work with them in order to grow. So in my opinion, Stephanie, you can master the life. You can at least master your version of asanas, not my version of asanas, your relationship to each asana in your maximum capacity. That will be the mastering the asana for your capacity and understanding how the asanas are working, the biomechanics of it. Darwani is I think, a very old student of mine who trained to become a teacher. It's my feeling that the beginning yoga students should focus on the asana as a disciplined practice, so it feels connection between mind, body, and spirit. I do not see a difference between mind and body, in my opinion. The teacher training as the intellectual element which only distract from the joy of finding the connection for the first time. As I said, I do not like to call it teacher training program, but it's everybody like the facade decoration of it. Yoga is not teacher training, it's life transforming practice. And when you go on the training program, if your aim is to become a teacher, forget about it. First become a student, then you can think about it if it gradually happens for you. And I have two other questions. Somebody asked why we go in cycles, same pattern of thoughts, emotions, repeats again without solving actual problem. Reason, as I'll be talking about earlier, you keep on going cycles because you are bound by karma, point one. Second, you identify with that problem so much, it becomes your a subject of existence. Third, your thoughts are not a problem, and you can never get rid of your thoughts. Your approach is wrong, in my view. Emotional repeats again without solving the actual problems. Your emotions are not problem. Emotions only becomes the problem because you react to them. Emotion can be a very beautiful thing. And can you imagine if your body have no emotions, you are dead. Emotions makes your body live. You are able to feel the vibration through your body. If those vibrations, you have no control over them, no understanding of them, no relationship to them, then when it becomes dangerous. Emotions are part of your life. You can never be free from emotion. Only time you may be free from emotions when you are in a tabut, or the fixed dead on the body. And that time, yes, you do not have emotions. As long as you are in the body, you are bound to have emotions. Only discipline and understanding you need to have is how not to react to emotions. Learn to respond, learn to embrace, learn to respect, learn to accept when emotions happen. So the life cycle, repeating, if you think you are just there to solve the problems of your emotions, you don't have much higher taste in life, my friend. Taste high, aim higher. If you are only looking your day-to-day, just solving the problem of emotions and thoughts, you have not set much expectation or much ambition in your existence of life. Aim high. Not to have thoughts, not to solve them, not to fight with them, but make peace with them. The day you can make peace with the thoughts, you will not have a problem, you will break the cycle. As long as you're fighting with the pattern of thoughts and identifying with them and constantly holding on to them, you will not be able to make peace with them. Second is emotions repeats again and again. You sounds like a hamster on a wheel. You sounds like hamster on a wheel. What you need to do, jump out of it. How you break the pattern of life cycle, same way you can break the pattern of the emotions. You are tied up and you're saying, I want to go. Like, monkey. Your problem with emotional pattern of not breaking the cycle, monkey likes something, you put a hand into it, the hand is empty. Goes inside, picks up the peanuts. Now hand is full. So now saying, I want to be free. I think the net or the whatever it is where the peanuts are, is not actually holding the monkey, but the monkey's attachment to the peanuts is holding it. Can't let it go, and constantly spend his whole life fighting to be free. And that is sometimes can be a human nature. You want a free from emotions, but I can't let go because I like it so much. The day you are able to let go of your hand and the peanuts that you are holding in your hand, you can be free from that trap. So, my friend Ekaki, if you want a freedom from repeating constantly unhealthy emotions without solving the actual problem is not with emotions. Problem is how you respond to them. Problem with the thoughts, how you react to them. If you would like, again, I would recommend start practicing meditation. It's the only way. Start practicing meditation. Drop every identity that you have created about yourself or a self-expectation from your own self. The problem is also arrived when you want yourself to be happy. All you do sometime, for example, you think the blue will make you happy, you go along, paint your whole life blue, belief system. Anything happens, something scratches along, inside blue that was looking very beautiful as a facade. Now is no longer blue. There's scratches all over it. Now your real color starts showing in it. Then somebody said, no, this is not good. Paint it yellow. Then you paint your life yellow again with yellow emotions. Now anybody can express them because you have not become transformed into it. You have just decorated yourself with it. So as long as you keep decorating yourself with emotions, not completely accepting or letting go, or you want to, however you want to relate to it, problems are going to be there. Problems are not the problems. Problems, and sometimes we create them because of our own identity. Meditation is only answer for you. Meditate and try to accept. Find a way. If you have gone in same direction, it's not working, go opposite direction. I have a couple of other questions. What is the difference between meditation and sleep? It's a good topic, and I think we come out to the end of time. That will be enough for today. We talk about next week about meditation and sleep. Thank you, everyone.